On the campaign trail, you have recently been called out on some yourself. I urge you to look at your monitor. We'll take a look.
Now, I could stand up here and say, let's just get everybody together. Let's get unified. The sky will open. The light will come down. Celestial choirs will be singing. And everyone will know we should do the right thing, and the world will be perfect.
Sounds good.
Of all the charges and countercharges made tonight, we can confirm that is not you, Senator Obama. That was Senator Clinton. But since we played that tape, albeit in error for this segment, how did you take that? How did you take those remarks when you heard them?
Well, I thought Senator Clinton showed some good humor there. I would give her points for delivery. And look, I understand the broader point that Senator Clinton's been trying to make over the last several weeks. She characterizes it typically as speeches, not solutions, or talk versus action. And as I said in the last debate, I've spent 20 years devoted to working on behalf of families who are having a tough time and are seeking out the American dream. That's how I started my career in public service. That's how I brought Democrats and Republicans together to provide health care to people who needed it. That's how I helped to reform a welfare system that wasn't working in Illinois. That's how I've provided tax breaks to people who really needed them as opposed to just the wealthy. And so I'm very proud of that track record. And if Senator Clinton thinks that it's all talk, you've got to tell that to the wounded warriors of Walter Reed who had to pay for their food and pay for their phone calls before I got to the Senate. And I changed that law. Or talk to those folks who I think have recognized that special interests are dominating Washington and pushing aside the agenda of ordinary families here in Ohio. And so when I pass an ethics reform bill that makes sure that lobbyists can't get gifts or meals or provide corporate jets to members of Congress, and that they have to disclose who they're getting money from and who they're bundling it for, that moves us in the direction of making sure that we have a government that is more responsive to families. Just one point I'll make. I was in Cincinnati, met with 4 women at a table like this one. And these were middle-aged women who, as one woman put it, had done everything right and never expected to find themselves in a situation where they don't have health care. One of them doesn't have a job. One of them is looking after an aging parent. 2 of them were looking after disabled children. One of them was dipping into their retirement accounts because she had been put on disability on the job. And you hear these stories, and what you realize is nobody has been listening to them. That is not who George Bush or Dick Cheney has been advocating for over the last 7 years. And so I am not interested in talk. I'm not interested in speeches. I would not be running if I wasn't absolutely convinced that I can put an economic agenda forward that is going to provide them with health care, is going to make college more affordable, and is going to get them the kinds of help that they need, not to solve all their problems, but at least to be able to achieve the American dream.
Let me ask you, Senator Clinton, what did you mean by that piece of videotape we saw from the campaign?
Well, I was having a little fun. It's hard to find time to have fun on the campaign trail, but occasionally you can sneak that in. But the larger point is that I know trying to get health insurance for every American that's affordable will not be easy. It's not going to come about just because we hope it will or we tell everybody it's the right thing to do. 15 years ago, I tangled with the health insurance industry and the drug companies, and I know it takes a fighter. It takes somebody who will go toe-to-toe with the special interests. I have put forth very specific ideas about how we can get back $55 billion from the special interests. The giveaways to the oil companies, the credit card companies, the student loan companies, the health insurance companies. These have all been basically pushed onto these special interests, not just because of what the White House did, but because members of Congress went along. And I want to get that money back and invest it in the American middle class. Health care, college affordability, the kinds of needs that people talk to me about throughout Ohio. Because what I hear as I go from Toledo to Parma, to Cleveland, to Dayton, is the same litany that people are working harder than ever, but they're not getting ahead. They feel like they're invisible to their government. So when it came time to vote on Dick Cheney's energy bill, I voted no, and Senator Obama voted yes. When it came time to try to cap interest rates for credit cards at 30%, which I think is way too high, but it was the best we could present, I voted yes, and Senator Obama voted no. So part of what we have to do here is recognize that the special interests are not going to give up without a fight. And I believe that I am a fighter, and I will fight for the people of Ohio and the people of America.
What I was attempting to do here is show something Senator Obama said about you, and I'm told it's ready. Let's try it. Let's try it. Hang on. Watch your monitor. Let's try it. We're going to come back to you.
Let's herself as co-president during the Clinton years. Every good thing that happened, she says she was a part of. And so the notion that you can selectively pick what you take credit for and then run away from what isn't politically convenient, that doesn't make sense.
Now, Senator Obama, you can react to whatever you wanted to react to from earlier, but I've been wanting to ask you about this assertion that Senator Clinton has somehow cast herself as co-president.
Well, I think what is absolutely true is that when Senator Clinton continually talks about her experience, she is including the 8 years that she served as First Lady, and often says, here's what I did, here's what we did, here's what we accomplished, which is fine. I have not in any way said that that experience is not relevant, and I don't begrudge her claiming that as experience. What I've said, and what I would continue to maintain, is you can't take credit for all the good things that happen, but then when it comes to issues like NAFTA, you say, well, behind the scenes I was disagreeing. That doesn't work. So you have to, I think, take both responsibility as well as credit. Now, there are several points that I think Senator Clinton made that we need to discuss here. First of all, she talked about me objecting to caps on credit cards. Keep in mind, I objected to the entire bill. A bill that Senator Clinton, in its previous version in 2001, had voted for. And at one of the debates with you guys said, well, I voted for it, but I hoped it wouldn't pass, which, as a general rule, doesn't work. If you don't want it to pass, you vote against it. She mentioned that she is a fighter on health care. And I do not in any way doubt that Senator Clinton genuinely wants to provide health care to all Americans. What I have said is that the way she approached it back in '93, I think, was wrong, in part because she had the view that what's required is simply to fight. And Senator Clinton ended up fighting not just the insurance companies, the drug companies, but also members of her own party. And as a consequence, there were a number of people like Jim Cooper of Tennessee and Bill Bradley and Pat Moynihan who were not included in the negotiations, and we had the potential of bringing people together to actually get something done. I am absolutely clear that hope is not enough, and it is not going to be easy to pass health care. If it was, it would have already gotten done. It's not going to be easy to have a sensible energy policy in this country. ExxonMobil made $11 billion last quarter. They are not going to give up those profits easily. But what I also believe is that the only way we are going to actually get this stuff done is, number one, we're going to have to mobilize and inspire the American people so that they're paying attention to what their government is doing. And that's what I've been doing in this campaign, and that's what I will do as president. And there's nothing romantic or silly about that. If the American people are activated, that's how change is going to happen. The second thing we're going to have to do is we're actually going to have to go after the special interests. Senator Clinton, in one of these speeches, it may have been the same speech where you showed the clip, said you can't just wave a magic wand and expect special interests to go away. That is absolutely true, but it doesn't help if you're taking millions of dollars of contributions from those special interests.